Boston's not just changing, it's evolving. You can feel it. Streets that used to crash early, now they're buzzing. Late night food trucks, rooftop bars in the Seaport, South End cocktails that belong in a museum. Boston's finally letting loose, and damn, it suits her. Back in 25, two things flipped daily life. The South Station concourse finally opened after years of construction, and real-time MBTA E-Link signs rolled out across all the surface stops. Suddenly, Boston felt easier to move through at all hours. Yeah, the traffic's a mess, rent's high, cranes everywhere, but that's what a heartbeat sounds like. Boston's not dying, it's pulsing. This is Boston leveled up. Same attitude, better soundtrack. If you think this city's just Ivy League and lobsters, you're missing the plot. Boston's having her main character moment, and you're gonna want front row seats. All right, if you're new here and we don't just, talk about this city, we live it. We're the ones who zigzag through Seaport detours and, the South Station work. And by late 2025, we finally walk the new concourses, like we own them. Boston right now, it's half history book, half sci-fi movie. Brick buildings across from glass towers that change tint with the sun. It's rowdy, unpredictable, and totally addictive. Quick note, if Boston's starting to feel like your next chapter, my team's info is below. We help people just like you figure out where they actually fit in the city. And if you're thinking about calling this city home, stick around, because this isn't about stats or, skyline shots. This is about vibe. The Boston's lifestyle glow up starts right here. Okay, Boston's done waiting for approval. It's just doing its thing now. The city that used to shut down early, it's now running late night food trucks till 3 a.m., backed by the new office of Nightlife economy. Yeah, that's a real thing. The city literally created a department to make nights more alive. In 2025, they tested late night food trucks to 3 a.m., tweaked the lighting downtown, and synced the venues and the transit. It wasn't theory, it ran. Walk through Seaport, South End, or Allston on a Friday, and you felt it. This is a different Boston. DJs are spitting in places that used to be quiet, warehouses flipping into studios and coffee shops, people actually hanging out around after work instead of sprinting home like it's a fire drill. It's confidence without trying, that quiet kind that doesn't need to shout. I helped a couple relocate here from DC, thought Boston would be all business. 2 months later, they're closing deals by day and discovering dive bars in Southie by night. I'm looking at you, Whiteys. It's that mix of hustle and vibe that hooks people. And here's what's wild. That confidence is pulling people in. Newcomers, returners, and locals who swore they'd never move are suddenly doubling down. So let's talk about who's actually moving here right now and what's making them want, in on this version of the city. And if you're planning to move, this is where our local Boston real estate team comes in. We know what's going on and what changes matter, which neighborhoods are shifting, and where the real value is. All our contact info is on the screen and in the description below. Call, text, or email us now, and we'll help you plan your move with confidence. You know who's showing up in Boston right now? It's not just students and tourists anymore. It's engineers, it's medical professionals and creatives, people who live anywhere but choose Boston. They're not chasing the next big thing, they're building it. Let me know in the comments, if you move to Boston, what neighborhood would you claim first? Seaport, South End, or the North End? I reply to everyone, and yes, it's me. Even the numbers back it up. Boston's heating up fast. The BBDA says Boston's still growing, fueled by international talent moving in. The UMass Donahue Institute calls immigration the key driver of population growth. Boston's becoming a global hub, not just a regional one. And if you've noticed more accents, more languages, and, more food spots from every corner of the world, that's exactly what's happening. Even with the economy doing its usual dance, Mass Bio reports the state's life sciences workforce has grown roughly 115% since 2008, a long-term climb even after a brief slowdown through 2024. That's wild. This city has become a magnet for STEM talent, med tech startups, and researchers who could have gone to San Diego or Austin, but picked Boston because it feels like the epicenter of something real. And that trend, it's not slowing down. LinkedIn's workforce reports keep showing steady inbound movement of educated professionals choosing Boston from all the other US hubs. Think about that. People leaving year-round sunshine for brick sidewalks and winter wind tunnels. That tells you something. Boston might not be easy, but it's worth it. And post-2025, well, car optional living got more believable. Better station flow and live arrival signs took the edge off winter commutes. We're seeing it isn't just population growth, it's a mindset shift. People aren't coming here just to study or work anymore. They're coming to belong, to be part of the reinvention. Boston's not a city stuck in history. It's a city writing its next chapter. And that's showing up in the neighborhoods, the streets, the cafes, the nightlife, the pulse of the city itself. So let's talk about that lifestyle glow up and what it actually, well, feels like to live in Boston right now. Zoning shifted. More small scale housing allowed near transit under squares plus streets, meaning future growth doesn't have to mean, well, mega projects. Michelin Guide dropped its first ever Boston picks, and the city's food scene showed up. Seaport stayed flashy, but the soul was in Allston and, the South End. It's the late night spots, the dive bars, the patios that didn't close just because, well, the clock struck 10. And neighborhoods, watch these. Rosendale, heating up. Dorchester's got full momentum, and Eastie's booming. And Hyde Park and West Roxbury are drawing buyers who want space but aren't, well, trying to flee the city. Even Melrose, just outside, the core of the city, is seeing prices jump and homes move fast. Boston didn't just grow taller in 25. It got smarter, louder, and way more livable. And that's a glow up that anybody can appreciate. This is where Boston's evolution hits you in the face, not with billboards or big marketing campaigns, but in the little moments that make you go, wait, when did this city get good? Walk through the Seaport and it feels like a different country. Rooftop bars packed, glass towers glowing, people out on the harbor walk catching sunset over the skyline. Head to the South End. Well, you've got art galleries, brunch spots that could hang in Brooklyn, and restaurants pushing Michelin level food before the guy even landed here. 2025 felt like the warm-up act. You could see the city stretching for, well, a bigger stage. Eater Boston, well, the heat maps are stacked. You got Capri, Fallow Kent, Mine, Darling, and No One are just a few places putting Boston on the national food radar. And yeah, the Michelin Guide finally arrived in 2025 as part of its new Northeast Cities edition. 2026 will be the first full year Boston lives under its spotlight. Over in Allston and Central Square, the vibe's younger, cheaper, and a little rough around the edges in the best way. Street murals, local breweries, pizza joints, and hole-in-the-wall spots with lines out the door. It's like Boston finally learned how to loosen its tie a little bit, stay out late without trying too hard. And here's the underrated part. The city didn't lose its character doing this. It didn't become one of those copy-paste metros where everything just kind of looks the same. Boston just figured out how to balance edge with energy. You can go from Fenway Dive Bar, fine dining, omakase in 10 minutes, and somehow it all fits. So yeah, the lifestyle glow up is real. It's modern, global, and still gritty enough to feel like Boston. Here's where it gets even more interesting. The skyline's changing, and not just with a few new cranes. The city's literally rebuilding itself from the ground up. Let's talk about the skyline shift and what those new towers actually mean for Boston's future. You ever look up lately and realize Boston doesn't look like Boston anymore? It's wild. Those cranes you see poking above the skyline aren't just construction. They're physical proof this city's leveling up. By 2025, South Station Tower topped out and came online around a reworked hub. Condos above, offices below, a transit knot that, well, finally breathes. The most obvious one, South Station Tower, 51 stories, about 690 feet, sitting right on top of Boston's busiest train and bus hub. It's not just another office box, it's a statement. Ritz-Carlton condos on top, new offices below, and a sky park that literally bridges downtown to the waterfront. It's like Boston saying, yeah, we can build tall and smart. Then there's Winthrop Center, and this thing is unreal. It's the world's largest passive house office building, which basically means it uses 2/3 less energy than normal towers. Boston isn't just building higher, it's building cleaner. It's sustainability with swagger, like you're building, wore a Patagonia vest and actually earned it. And January 25, well, it gave Boston City Hall official landmark status. That's Boston in a sentence. Keep the icon, modernize the engine. And it's not stopping there. The city of Boston just greenlit new zoning rules downtown, taller towers, more housing, and a focus on mixing in income restricted units so it's not just luxury glass. Yeah, you heard that right. I know, I see in the comments talking about affordability. They're actually working on it. The idea is build up, bringing people back downtown, and keep the lights on after 6 p.m. Meanwhile, the BPDA is already talking about the next wave. Projects like 380 Stewart and Fenway Center Phase 2, which are reshaping those edges of the skyline. The old height limits that defined Boston for decades, they're getting tested, but it's not reckless, it's thoughtful growth. Every new tower is tied to transit, sustainability, or housing. Now, the quick reality check, yeah, it's a lot of glass and steel, but every piece of it changes how people actually live here. And you can feel the shift on the street level too. Shadows stretching a little longer, cafes filling with people who live downtown, well now, not just to work here. Those new towers, they're rewiring the mood of the city, and it ties directly into something way bigger. How this city's learning to live, after dark. Because what's the point of all these towers if nobody's out there enjoying them once the sun goes down? Let's talk about the nightlife economy and how Boston's finally finding, its after hours rhythm. For the longest time, Boston after 10 p.m. felt, like a Cinderella story. Great night, and then poof, everything shut down. You could be at a packed bar 1 minute, and 10 minutes later, you're on the sidewalk eating, cold pizza, wondering where the night went. But that's changing, and it's changing fast. This city actually built an office of nightlife economy to make Boston more alive after dark. Not rowdy, not reckless, just vibrant. They're testing out late night food trucks that run until 3 a.m., adding a safer lighting downtown, even coordinating with bar owners and transit to keep the city humming past midnight. That's not theory, that's Boston.gov's policy, and it's already happening. Now, here's the real check-in. In 25, we still had scheduled line shutdowns for repairs, but the combo of better info and later food kept nights alive, not, aimless. And you can feel it. Seaport patios are still packed at midnight. We're talking about just shows playing in old warehouses in South Boston, breweries turning into live music spots. The city's finding its groove responsibly, but with flavor. And we're starting to get those late night vibe people that used to say only New York could, pull it off. This isn't Boston trying to be someone else. It's Boston growing into, what it should have been all along. A city where you can work hard, live well, and have a night worth remembering. And it's smart too. This late night push means more jobs, more local business revenue, and a safer, more connected community. And that's Boston. Even the policy's got a bit of attitude. You stack that on top of a skyline shift, the global migration, and, the food scene explosion, and, what you've got isn't just a city improving. It's, full-on reinvention. But here's the kicker. All that growth comes with tension, space, affordability, and, housing are forefront issues. So let's talk about that. What all this change means for, the real people trying to live here, buy here, and make Boston home. All right, let's be real for a second. Boston's glow looks amazing from, a drone shot. But when you're the one trying to find a place to live, it hits different. Rent's up, listings move fast, and buying here feels like a sport you need endurance for. But that's also Boston. We don't scare easy. According to, the BPDA and Boston indicators, the city's still short on housing, but the gears are finally turning. The Squares Plus Streets zoning reform, it's meant to make it easier to build smaller apartment buildings and mixed-use projects right where people, they actually want to live, near transit and shops and restaurants. That's how you start to take the pressure off of, those crazy prices. Yes, I know, guys, affordability, I understand. In 2025, you actually saw it moving though. Simpler paths for small mixed use near the transit, not just mega projects. To put it in perspective, Boston's adding 10,000 new housing units over the next few years, but demand's closer to double that. So every project matters. And those empty office buildings downtown, yeah, I'm acknowledging them. The city's office to residential conversion program is giving them a second life, turning them into homes instead of just, well, these big square footage ghosts. In 2025, early conversions finally started advancing, adding homes downtown instead of just those dead square footage areas. Still, we're not sugarcoating anything. It's expensive. It always has been. But here's the thing. People aren't leaving because of it. They're adapting. More roommates, more co-ops, more people finding creative ways to live where the opportunity is. And that's the story nobody tells. The city's not pricing people out as much as it's forcing innovation in how people stay in. That's the city. It's gritty, it's proud, and somehow still lovable. You don't live here because it's easy. You live here because it's alive. And that's the perfect setup for where this all leads. The culture, the people, the stories that make this city, well, feel like home no matter how much it changes. Here's the truth. Cities, they evolve. Skylines, they change. And trends, well, they come and go. But Boston keeps its edge. It's one city that can modernize without losing its mouth. You can build a 700-foot tower and someone in Southie will tell you that they like the skyline better in '98. You can open a new Michelin restaurant and someone from Eastie will remind you the best Italian is still their cousin's kitchen. And that's what makes this place electric. Nobody here's pretending. Boston culture isn't curated, it's earned. Its students, well, they're pulling all-nighters in Back Bay cafes, nurses hustling down double shifts in Longwood, and construction crews building the skyline, well, they'll later drink under. It's layered, it's proud, and it's full of people who actually give a damn. Franklin Park stayed in headlines in 2025. The White Stadium revival pushed forward, timelines shifted, and well, the neighborhood debate stayed very Boston. It's loud, it's loyal, and it's honest. And what I love most is the duality. You've got biotech geniuses in Kendall Square walking past graffiti murals in Central. Old money brownstones rubbing shoulders with, well, the brand new glass condos. Somehow it all just works. It's the clash that makes the chemistry. And through all the growth, the cranes, the conversions, the Michelin stars, the night economy push, Boston's pulse never changed. It's ambition with attitude, it's tradition with teeth. It's not trying to be New York or San Francisco or anywhere else. It's Boston. It's still tough, it's still loyal, it's still brutally honest, but now a whole lot brighter. So when people ask, is Boston changing? I say, yeah, for the better. And the soul, that's the same. And that's why people keep coming back or never leave it at all. Boston's not just changing, it's evolving. You can feel it. Streets that used to crash early, now they're buzzing. Late night food trucks, rooftop bars in the Seaport, South End cocktails that belong in a museum. Boston's finally letting loose, and damn, it suits her. Back in 25, two things flipped daily life. The South Station Concourse finally opened after years of construction, and real-time MBTA E-Link signs rolled out across all the surface stops. Suddenly, Boston felt easier to move through at all hours. Yeah, the traffic's a mess, rent's high, cranes everywhere, but that's what a heartbeat sounds like. Boston's not dying, it's pulsing. This is Boston leveled up. Same attitude, better soundtrack. If you think this city's just Ivy League and lobsters, you're missing the plot. Boston's having her main character moment, and you're gonna want front row seats.